In the midst of the confrontation against the remaining kaijuus, Kafka undergoes a partial transformation and saves one of the troop members. He narrowly avoids being hit from behind, but Kikoru saves him with Reno's assistance. The two of them decide to handle the kaijuus while the others tend to the wounded. Reno urges Kafka not to be reckless and to trust his team. He's now a member of the troop. Just then, two veteran squads who were off-duty arrive to lend their aid. The squads manage to gradually overpower the kaijuus, even without Captain Mina. Meanwhile, Hashina warns the enemy that they've picked a fight with the 3rd Division. They won't leave alive. The captain uses his powerful slashes to target the enemy's armor weaknesses. The enemy realizes and attempts to counter, but these slashes were merely a distraction for the real attack. Hashina unleashes a massive barrage of strikes. The kaiju seems to relish the turn of the fight, finally engaging at full strength. Hashina sees that the enemy's core is much larger than he thought and launches an octuple slash. But instead of falling, the kaiju begins to transform. The kaiju's shell begins to crack, its power seemingly increasing exponentially. Even Kafka can sense the kaiju's presence, even in his human form. The enemy continues to grow, its form becoming grotesque with multiple mouths emitting high-temperature vapor. The kaiju undergoes another transformation, gaining muscles and a much larger, stronger body with a fortitude of 9.0. This renders Hashina's combat against the enemy completely unfeasible. He cannot win alone. Nevertheless, the captain dodges the blow and begins climbing the enemy, utilizing his 3rd form to summon numerous slashes. However, the slashes are too shallow. Hashina decides to increase the speed of his slashes even further to reach the core on the creature's back. However, his nose starts bleeding, his suit having reached its maximum usage. Hashina is pushing his limits too far. He has already used the suit's full power for 10 minutes, which is a very high risk, with only 1 more minute of power remaining. The enemy summons 2 smaller kaijuus, surrounding Hashina. To make matters worse, the enemy turns one of the kaijuus into a living bomb, nearly exploding right in Hashina's face, but he narrowly avoids it. Taking advantage of the smoke screen, the captain maneuvers to the kaiju's back to defeat it. However, the kaiju reveals several eyes on its rear, seeing exactly where Hashina is and attacking him directly. Hashina is hit and sent flying into the wall. The suit's full power is deactivated. Hashina is now at the mercy of luck. In the past, when Hashina was still a child, he aspired to join the defense troop, but his skills excelled only in samurai blade techniques, which were only useful in the Edo period. In the present, even after a monstrous blow, Hashina rises with a smile on his face, claiming to be fine. The evacuation of civilians is nearly complete, and the battle against the kaijuus is going well. Hashina fulfills his duty to the end, engaging in another combat against the main villain. He unleashes his slashes, but the enemy already knows his techniques. Since his childhood, everyone had said that his techniques were useless against kaijuus. His proficiency with firearms was too low, and he would end up dead. However, when he met Mina, she said she needed his strength as a swordsman, being different from everyone else. Mina knew that powerful smaller kaijuus could also appear. Moreover, Mina was very poor with blades, and he could pave the way for her in all situations. Mina entrusted this base to Hashina's care, and he will protect it to the end. The captain employs all his cutting techniques against the creature, but nothing is effective. He is caught again and his end draws nearer. Kafka is nearby, running to help while thinking of Kikoru and Ichikawa, who warned him not to be reckless. If he transforms here, there will be no escape. Considering all this, Kafka decides that a comrade's life is much more important. But before he could transform, a voice thanks everyone for holding their positions. Suddenly, the kaiju is hit squarely by a powerful cannon blast. Mina Ashiro finally arrives in the combat, activating her full power of 96%. The monster manages to regenerate and sends the smaller kaijus to attack Mina. She is informed that the core is located on the creature's back between some vertebrae. She moves while her tiger Bako supports her as she fires the cannon. The kaiju anticipates the attack and is regenerating too quickly. Hashina makes an effort for one last attack, releasing 63% of his power. He targets the legs to limit the target's mobility, but his suit is at its limit, and he is almost hit if not for Shinomiya, who arrives just in time. She saves Hashina, but her current power barely scratches the kaiju. Hashina shouts that it doesn't matter, just keep attacking. The two of them attack together and manage to break the monster's shell, but the limit is also reached for Kikoru, and she falls. The captain praises her and finishes with a double slash to finally sever the monster's leg. Hashina needs to keep cutting and prevent it from regenerating until Mina can hit the core at once. He forces his body to keep moving even with his muscles burning from exhaustion, just to create an opening for Mina. And so, the kaiju's core is finally exposed and ruthlessly obliterated by Mina, falling with a roar of death. Hashina and Mina manage to take down the kaiju with a little help from Kikoru. Kafka cries tears of emotion. This is exactly how he wanted to be since childhood. The battle is not over yet. The other Yojus brought by the villains still remain. Hashina tells Kikoru to rest while he and Mina go after the rest. But Mina scolds him, saying he has already done enough today and orders him to rest as well. Hashina eventually agrees, but as he looks up at the sky, everyone sees the kaijus transforming into giant bombs. It seems that the last roar was not a death roar but a signal. Mina immediately orders everyone to retreat and calls for more ammunition, but Hashina realizes that there may not be enough time. If those bombs drop, the entire base will be destroyed. Meanwhile, the remainder of the defeated kaiju calls for the captain, declaring it a draw. Desperation takes hold of the place. Amidst this chaos, Kafka runs at full speed. Everyone has given beyond their maximum, and now there is no other option. Hashina shouts for him to come back but wonders how he can run so fast. Someone with only 1% of power released couldn't move like that even in a dream. Kafka heads straight for a tall structure, where he apologizes to Hashina and transforms. A daikaiju of latitude 9.8 is detected. Kafka reveals his secret and shows himself to be kaiju number 8. Chapter 32. Hashina had his suspicions, but even seeing with his own eyes, it's hard to believe. He had grown attached to Kafka. Kafka prepares and focuses all his strength and energy from his muscles. Boosters emerge from his legs, and with a powerful leap, Kafka delivers a blow with all his might, surpassing his own limit drastically. The pressure around him distorts, and the creatures are lifted into the air all at once. Kafka manages to save the entire base, even startling the enemy kaiju. Kafka falls to the ground again, and Mina shouts for everyone to get down. The kaijus explode all at once. Kafka ended up shattering his limbs with this blow. He mentally apologizes to Ichikawa and Kikoru, and then Mina approaches him and points her gun. Kafka is taken into custody. Kafka is arrested, and the headquarters discuss what to do with him. Many approve of eliminating him and using him as a weapon or even a biological weapon. In response, Isao Shinomiya, the director of the defense troop and father of Kikoru, orders the 3rd Division to hand over kaiju number 8. Kafka is kept imprisoned and under 24-hour analysis. He wonders what will happen to him now. It seems like his dream has been extinguished once again. Mina appears to take Kafka to headquarters. He tries to call out to her but gives up. He understands that she can't do much. After all, she has to fulfill what is expected of her position. Outside, soldiers from the 3rd Division await to escort him. Kafka can't even look at them. He feels he betrayed everyone's trust by acting that way. But when he boards the convoy, Ichikawa calls out to him, saying she's sure he'll come back. Mina adds that when Kafka ran without hesitation and saved the base, she was surprised that he was a kaiju, but she also thought it was just like him. She is gathering all the evidence she can to prove that Kafka is human, so she can spare him from execution. They will also talk about his performance as a troop member. She makes it clear that in the 3rd Division, no one sees him as a kaiju or an enemy. Kafka is moved and calls out to his friend. He asks if he can still dream of fighting by her side, and she replies yes, she will always wait for him. Kafka is transported to the troop's naval base.